Hello everyone, welcome back. So a short recap. The reason why the quotation marks on the Steel Age is simply because when I was doing research on the historical period of the Steel Age, there wasn't a defined timeline. What I mean by that is that even during the Iron Age, we were in fact using steel as well. So I decided to go on more on a period of time where they would have used more steel than iron, but iron was still used. Same with copper, and we were still using all those sort of metals today. So I've chosen the Victorian era, and I've chosen the Terrence house. Because of the surge of the Industrial Revolution, these houses became extremely popular. Even though they didn't start in the Victorian era, they were introduced in around about the 16th century and then became more popular after the Great Fire of London in 1666. You might see differs of these type of houses because of the Georgian take before the Victorian era, and then you got the style of the Victorian era. They are primarily were used more for more of the housing crisis, if you can call it a crisis, and more to get the families in one house and closer to work. So they were more during the when it became more the late Victorian era, more for the lower classes. So they were been built with stone, red bricks or brown bricks or cream bricks, because they were relatively cheap because of the factories, the brick factories. They would use the slate quarried from Wales and glass. They had big bay windows because the glass became cheaper as well. On that note, let's take a look, shall we? So I didn't build a whole street, and I didn't decorate the entirety of each house, but because they are just mirror image. So this one here is a mirror image of that, and those two are just a mirror image of these. Now there would have been more of like iron fences than a wall, but sometimes there were brick walls with some iron fences, not wood. Let's show you the bay windows. I'm quite proud of the bay windows. They would have probably used iron, but for some reason I chose the obsidian for the details. But you don't have to use obsidian. You could easily just use slate. I mean, the new brickwork is perfect for this type of build. You'll see when we get into the kitchen and the scullery section. So the bay windows are just basically a replica of each other. I've also did a little bit different, so you can see when it's at an end house, would probably had more windows than all these. And then a continuation would be. I'm only going to give a short overview of what the outside looks, and also the roofs wouldn't have been as this tall. They're not this tall. There's still quite a lot of these houses, remnants, not remnants, there's blah 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 blah. There's still quite a lot of these houses that exist today, especially in the city of London. When I was growing up in London, I have actually been in a few Victorian houses, terrace houses in my day, but the brick wasn't red, it was brown, and some of them had the exterior coating. I don't know what they call it it's a modernized thing, because these brickwork was atrocious for damp and mold, so many of them has that sort of plastered cover. And the black and white checkered, I chose that for the flooring for the downstairs because I have actually seen it in houses. Not in all throughout, but I have actually seen it on the outside, like a strip of black and white checkered. I don't know why I didn't put it in here. and then just slabs of, you know, just don't know what they would use, but it was slabs. And yeah, so I have actually seen this flooring, and I don't know why, I don't like it. I'm not a personal fan of the black and white one. Now, I had to make some compromises, and yes, they can be this narrow and kind of stretched long. Yeah, so I had to make compromising with the coving, yeah, coving, because I had to get some sort of lighting, but I had to, you know, it was a full block, so I had to trim it off, which, you know, it doesn't look too bad. And I know what you're thinking, well, why didn't you recess the walls? I tried that. I did it. And the wallpaper covered the coving. It was horrible. I couldn't separate the wallpaper from it. It was mean. So yes, they were actually this. They can be quite this narrow. They would always have a dining room, and it was always like in the front room, which is really weird to me. But I suppose because of the, I will show you a better view of that fireplace because it's replicated in the master bedroom. I chose 2 different fireplaces, and I just replicated it throughout the house. And there's coving. I didn't add the coving on the floor. They would have had, you know, separated, and I just did the flooring all the way through in the ground floor. I mean, they're different sizes, and they would have had different types of tiles, but this one seems to be the most popular. You might see like red and black ones, and they would have always a high ceiling. Gotta love a high ceiling. They would have been a little bit higher than this one. Yeah, and yeah, it is a little dark. They would have had gas lamps all across here, but space and time to chisel that, and yeah. And then the sitting room, which surprisingly has got more light in it. Yeah, I didn't do much decorating. This one's a bit off-centered, so there isn't a fire in that. So I did actually this is one of the styles of fireplaces for the Victorian era. There was plenty with like a iron stove in it. Maybe just a iron stove fireplace. Good grief. Yeah, so yeah, the wallpaper works brilliantly in this game, at least for this build. And I use the wallpaper as rugs. I didn't know you could put them on the floor, but if you didn't know if you didn't know also that you could put wallpaper on the floor, guess what? You can put wallpaper on the floor. So each room has a matching. So I'm going to go upstairs first because I like the kitchen more. So upstairs, all wood flooring. Now, see, this is where I feel a bit conflicted about this cupboard space. I've just put firewood, but now I'm thinking on it, there would have been another set of stairs going into the attic, the loft area. What? How? Excuse you? What is going on here? Oh, it's just a weird lighting thing. I thought I missed a block then. My apologies. Just having a weird tizzy moment. I spent a lot of time on this area, and it's very cramped. Oh, good grief, the light. I can't sort that out. Oh, there's always something with this game. I love it. I absolutely do adore it. But you do always get sometimes a bit of issues with it. Yeah, so I believe they would have had stairs going up to the attic. I don't believe this would have been storage at all. So that is, I believe, my only mistake. I did add the bottom coving to the hallway. So which room shall we go? Let's go to the back room, shall we? let's get chisel out. Now I left it kind of bare with decoration and stuff like that. I used oak, so I'm going to leave you to the rest of the video. I hope you enjoyed. So I'm going to leave you to the rest of the video. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for watching. Catch you later. Now usually they would always have a separate like playroom or study, especially the upper classes. They used, at least I think they would have had a separate study and a playroom for their children and man of the house. Now, I did try to use as much of the dead space that I could, because they would have turned them into cupboards or space like that cloak rack and stuff like that. There wasn't much of spaces that wasn't used in these types of homes. Now, for the master bedroom, I think was primarily decorated by the women of the house. So I chose the most hideous wallpaper going. No, I really didn't. I just chose one, and then when I put it on there, I had to stick with it. And obviously they would have had thick draped curtains upon their windows as well to keep away from the draft, and on their beds. I simply did not have the time to sculpt the four poster, and some things had to be compromised upon, but other than that, I think it's all good. It is a little bit treacherous walking around on here in this game because I keep getting stuck on the coving. Ooh, and I keep flying down the stairs. Awesome. Now, I'm not too certain if there would have been bookcases. I think there would have been more like storage here. Underneath the, yeah, it would have been like a cupboard and storage for cleaning supplies or something. And as you can see why I say that the new bricks and tiles are perfect for this, because isn't this a Victorian kitchen and a half? They always would have used pine. Something about the cleanliness of it. Maybe it was antibacterial. I'm not entirely certain. I haven't looked up that. So let's close. And lovely little stuff. And if you really wanted to, you could make those drawers into decorative chests and use them for storage if you wanted to emulate something like this. But this would have been shelves for plates, pots. This room would have been primarily used for preparation of food. There was no cleaning in this. Well, there was cleaning, but only of the worktops and space. They weren't actual, you know, washing of dishes in the same space you would of preparing food. That would have happened all in the one area that would have had plumbing. Now, some places may not even have plumbing, but this is where all the cleaning of dishes and so, there would have been like a coal shed supply, or what do you call it, food storage? Not food storage. What am I thinking of? That's a food storage, that's in like an inbuilt cupboard. Pantry! Pantry! Oh my goodness! The word I'm looking for is a pantry. That is really up close. Hi. Yeah, the word I'm looking for is pantry. Food storage. Good grief. And yes, bathroom was always connected. I have actually seen a couple of houses that still have a bathroom behind the kitchen. I'm not even joking. You can even look on floor plans where there is actually a bathroom still behind the kitchen. And then a separate WC for upstairs, or shower room upstairs that's been renovated. They wouldn't have had a shower room, but the old houses has been renovated for modern reasons, and it would have had like a separate I know, it's so silly, but it is, I do think it's funny having a little outhouse privy. But yeah, always a separate privy or outhouse. I mean, sometimes they were actually in the garden in a shed sort of type, connected to the house, so they wouldn't actually be connected to the bathroom. Yeah, the bathroom is... I don't like that. That always weirds me out. But back then, if you think about the plumbing, was only just really becoming really introduced. Becoming more popular because things were getting cheaper. So supplying water was... I mean, we still use quite a few Victorian pipes in this country. They are outdated. I'm not even kidding. I wish I was kidding. Ooh. I would... Ooh, hello. Ooh. No. I'll go back. Oh, good grief. Yeah. I'm not even kidding. We still have Victorian pipe works for our plumbing in all across the UK. It's really quite sad that infrastructure hasn't been upgraded. I mean, even the River Thames should have been upgraded by now. Reason why it keeps flooding? Yeah. Because our governments are cheapskates. So, with that in mind. Yeah, so, yeah. All the plumbing would have been back at the house. So, if you find yourself in an old building and you're finding that you see plumbing that's gone upstairs because you got a bathroom up there, but you got like pipe work that's just like sitting out in the open in your dining room and it's just going across from your boiler, it's because that's been newly added. That isn't a Victorian thing. So they had to, add pipe works to all this stuff. And gas works. Good grief, could you imagine all the gas lamps in here? That to me is really freaking treacherous. Yeah, so I mean, this one I made it more kind of fancy because I feel like you know the types of people who have a slightly bigger space on the outside, or they got slightly more windows. They're fucking snob. They think they're superior. And if you're one of those type, well, I live in one of those, but I'm not like that. I'm not referring to you, darling. I'm referring to the, when this was all in fashion and, was newly built. Yeah, I made little lips on the windows too. Oh, let's take a little look at the chimney, considering I did some chisel work. See, there is a love-hate relationship between us and Victorian homes. Some people adore them. I do love an old build. I also don't like an old build, but for many different reasons. Some older generations may not like them because overcrowding, issues after the war when the a lot of our homes were destroyed. Many of these Victorian terraces were basically slums. There's no way around it. It was overcrowded, basically slums, and that's why it became more popular to only have maybe 4 to 6 terraces houses, and they became more semi-detached after the wars, because I think people just had enough of being hemmed in, and honestly, who could blame them? Personally for me, I have lived in a new build, I have lived in an old build, I have lived in like an old house. I'm currently living in an old house. The old house is kind of crumbling, and it's like the, what do you call it, insulation is not great, but it's got working fireplaces. I freaking love these working fireplaces. They have kept us warm in the winter when we, you know, there's cracks hidden behind wallpaper. I don't even want to know, really. The roof is actually original roofing, but it needs replacing because it is falling apart on us. I have a love-hate relationship. I feel like these old builds were built to last, and they have survived so much, and they are continuing to still survive compared to the new builds that haven't even withstand a couple storms. We've had quite a few storms in the last few years, and I kid you not, I have seen on the news new builds have but half their roof and their first floor completely gone because of the storms. Yet these old buildings, okay, many of them may have suffered damages, but my one's still going, and my roof needs replacing. I'm surprised how much it survived throughout the storms that we've had. I can understand the love-hate relationship to them, but with the new builds, I can't stand them. I think they're poorly built. They are not in mind of people in homes. They are in mind of profiteers, investors. They're not good homes at all. They are cheap, they are crappy, and they are not even properly functional, because many of them are not being built with fireplaces because you know, it's being, oh, you shouldn't really have fireplaces, it's dangerous for the environment, even though we have airplanes. Oh my god, the stupidity of that. The stupidity of, oh, fireplaces are really reliable for the environment, even though we've literally had fires throughout human history to keep us warm, to feed us, and they think they're trying to, oh, see how flustered I am. See how freaking flustered I am about this whole, oh, they want to ban fireplaces in the UK. And they're going on about urban gardening is not good for the environment either. I mean, like, really? Really? Like, really? Pull the other one, mate. I mean, oh, I'm having a major rant here. Honestly. I am so salty. I am ridiculously salty. Yeah, so... So yeah, apologies for the salty rants. So I'm going to leave you to the rest of the video. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for watching. Catch you later.